Finally, a solution to weight and health problems, and I want to tell you, it might not be your fault that you have the problems that you do, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. Congratulations for joining me for this information meeting. My name is Dr. Pat Luce. I am the President and CEO of Tri-State Physicians and Physical Therapy Clinic in South Sioux City. And we have medical, chiropractic, and physical therapy professionals, and we also have one of the largest weight loss practices in the Midwest. And this is my family. My wife and I had 4 children and adopted 4 more children, and now we have 12 grandchildren. So if you look at weight and health problems in America, it's not a good picture. By age 40, our health starts to decline, and weight is a big part of that. And then by the time we get to the retirement years, we're in what I call the no fun zone. We've got disease, medications, disability, low energy, poor health, and things that are not fun. But it doesn't have to be like that. You can get back to ideal health and ideal weight using the 7 Systems Plan. It is the perfect system to get you in the blue zone so that you not only live longer, but you can enjoy life tremendously. I want to start at my beginning. Yes, that is me. Over 40 years ago, I'm a young intern in the clinic in Chicago, and I love helping people with nutrition and weight loss. I took every bit of training I could in the school and outside the school, and I started plugging it in and doing things as an intern that had never been done before. And I was having success, so they gave me a lot of leeway. And during my last trimester there, I had a fellow intern come to me. Now, this wasn't him. We didn't have cell phones back in that day. But he looked like this. And he said, "Hey, I see what you're doing. Can you help me lose 60 pounds by graduation?" Now, that was only 4 months away. But I said, "We can do that." So I put him on a program, and I taught him what to do, and I held him accountable, and this is the kind of transformation that he had. He went from an obese guy to a macho man, and his whole personality changed. His outlook on life changed, and I was hooked. I said, I want to keep creating these stories. So I worked with individuals for decades, and about 15 years ago, I started working with groups of people. And then I wrote the book on how I was doing this, called the 7 Systems Plan, which I'm honored and humbled has won an Amazon #1 bestseller. And then I put my course online so people not in the area could start benefiting from this. Next, I had doctors asking me to teach them to do what I do. So we have now doctors all across America who are going through training to teach the 7 Systems Plan course in their office. And right now, we are in almost every state in America and actually 7 countries around the world. And we help people have amazing health transformations. This is Cindy. Now, she didn't have any bad diseases, but she had joint problems, inflammation, obesity, couldn't get down on the floor to play with her grandkids. Do you think she can after finishing the 7 Systems Plan? In 8 months, she lost 85 pounds, and it's not just about weight loss, it's about fixing your systems. Mike had diabetes, high cholesterol, and hypertension, and in 90 days, those problems were gone. And Manon, 63-year-old grandma, do you think she feels better about herself? I want you to stick with me because we're going to give you a free hormone test. And we're also going to show you a 1-minute video at the end that is extremely powerful. But let's look at weight problems. Now, in America, 76% of all Americans are overweight, and the problem with that is weight problems affect everything. It's kind of a domino effect. 60 million have digestive problems. Every 42 seconds, someone has a heart attack. One of the top reasons for medical visits is low energy. Hormones. 90% of all adults have some hormone issues. And 24 million actually have an autoimmune disease. And 100% of us now, we know, have toxins in our body. And I'll show you the stats on that, and it's scary. So that's the problems that we have. What's the solution? Let me start with things not to do. And these are some real ads from the past. Here's the first one. Fat banished with sanitized tapeworms. And yes, they did do that. And they improved the product. Now it's called Lard Be Gone, the easy way with live tapeworm eggs. Don't do that. Or another thing not to do. Can you believe they use this ad? How sugar helps dieters switch off your appetite. And one that really worked, stay fit and trim by taking amphetamine. It does make you lose weight, but probably you will die. And got stubborn belly fat? Don't try this either. It's quite painful. And the last one may surprise you. What not to do: eat less and exercise more. Because a lot of people have tried that, and that is not the solution. But if you look at most diet plans in America, they almost all work by creating a calorie deficit. So I'm a big study guy. I want to look at studies and see, is this the solution? And if we look at just calories, since 1974, we've got 500 more calories coming in, and we have an obesity rate that's skyrocketing, so maybe that is the problem. It's not. If you look at calories and exercise, they were put to the test in the Women's Health Initiative trial. 5,000 women challenged to eat less and exercise more, and they tracked them to make sure they were eating less, and they did, and they were exercising more, and they did, and they continued to do that for 9 years. Now, you'd expect to see some pretty good results in 9 years, right? 2 pounds. 2 pounds weight loss. 2 pounds better than doing nothing. So clearly that's not the solution. Here's 2 mice that have the same diet and the same exercise. What are we missing? And that's why I tell people it's not your fault. There's things you don't know that are sabotaging your weight and health. The real cause of weight problems and many other health problems is a malfunction of one of your body's 7 main systems. These 7 systems control everything. If they're working great, you're going to have great energy, great vitality. You're going to not have problems with weight. But if one or more of them starts to malfunction, then you're going to gain weight and bad things can happen. Because every one of these 7 systems can make you gain weight. And not only that, they can cause other health issues. So the solution to weight problems is to get each of these 7 systems working correctly. And that's also the solution to blood pressure problems and energy problems. And I could go on and on. You have to get each of these 7 systems working correctly. Now, about 2 decades ago, I went through functional medicine training to learn how to fix these systems. It's very good training. I learned a lot. But here's what I found. Understanding and fixing systems can take a lot of time and can be very complicated. You want to know how complicated? This complicated. Not practical for the doctor or the patient, and also it can be very expensive. There are functional medicine doctors today that to have you work with them will charge you $17,000 for 6 months. And I'll tell you, it's a good investment. You can learn a lot by doing that, but for most people, that's not practical. So I sought to find a better way. And my discovery was a simple way to evaluate each of these 7 systems, identify malfunctions, and then optimize them using simple proven steps. And what I found is it's not that hard to get these systems working correctly. So here's a typical patient that comes in to me, Mark and Pam. He's tracking his weight loss on a fitness app for 1 year. On his own, diet and exercise, and he loses 5 pounds, which is better than most people do. You know what he did right here? he joined the 7 Systems plan and within months hit his weight loss goals. He and Pam lost 100 pounds and got off all their medications. I love helping people get so they don't need medications. I don't take them off medications. I get them healthy and say, go see your doctor, and they take them off. And we help people even with morbid obesity, like Kevin, 170 pounds lost. And here's Dustin and Sarah. Now that's their first week, 20 pounds, 10 pounds, and there's 270 pounds later. And Teresa, 80 pounds in 8 months. I want your weight off fast. And I know what you're thinking. Fast weight loss equals regain. You heard that? It is a myth. Within weight loss trials, more rapid and greater initial weight loss has been associated with lower body weight at the end of long-term follow-up. You'll want to get it off fast. Now I want to also share a patient I could not help. This is Sheila. She actually came, attended this information meeting, knew she had diabetes, high cholesterol, weight problems, hypertension, and we did some testing on her, and I found problems with every one of her systems. Now I don't find that very often, but if you got 7 systems that aren't working right, something bad's going to happen. And I predicted a crisis. I said, Sheila, you're going to have a train wreck if you don't fix your systems. Now here's the problem. Sheila wasn't willing to make any changes. And I'll tell you right now, if you're not willing to make some changes, I can't help you. But they're not hard. Sure enough, Sheila ends up in a coma in the hospital for 6 weeks. Almost died. In fact, they had called in her family to say goodbye. Now she lived, but when she came out of the hospital, she got twice the drugs, twice the problems, and severe health problems. But now she was willing to make some changes. And she joined the 7 Systems plan, got rid of all of her medications. Her insulin-dependent diabetes went away. Her kidneys even came back to normal function. So I'm going to go through these systems quickly so you kind of get an idea what they are and how they work. And we're going to start with your structural system, the most important system. It's your frame. It's your bones and your muscle and your fat. And which do we have the most trouble with in America? Fat. We've got problems with all of them, but in fact, in America, the problem is so bad that this carving of David that Michelangelo did in the 1500s came to America to tour museums from Italy. And after being in America, it went back to Italy, and they were not happy with what happened. It's easy to gain weight in America. Candy came to see me 15 years ago now and sat in on the information meeting. She's a school teacher, 60 years old, going to retire from teaching school. And here's what she said. I vowed I would never spend another penny on health care, on weight loss, because I've tried them all and failed them all. But she said, I have to do something or I'm not going to be around for my grandkids. And that's a great why, by the way. So I taught her the importance of a healthy belly versus a dying belly. So let's take a cross section through here. That's your liver, your intestines, your spine, and there's some fat in there, that white. Look at this belly. How's that liver going to work? That's fatty liver disease. That's fatty heart. When you get belly fat, I'll guarantee you, you have fat in and around those organs, and that is lethal fat. Now, fat should not be your enemy. It should behave, not suck up the calories, and when you need energy, it should give you energy. Fat should be your friend. Like a refrigerator. Could you survive without a refrigerator? It'd be kind of difficult. We want some food, we go there, we get it out, and then we eat. That's what your fat cells are. They're there to give you energy when you need it. But when we stuff these fat cells more and more, they become angry. And now they're not like a refrigerator, they are like a chest-type freezer in the basement. You ever had one of those and try to get something out of that chest-top freezer? And not only that, it's got a lock on it. When these fat cells get angry, the fat gets locked in by something called insulin. If you have angry fat, you have high levels of insulin. Studies show the release of fat from fat cells is inhibited by high insulin. Now, there's a blood test for checking insulin. It's a very good test. I encourage everyone to have it done. But I'm going to show all of you watching how to check your insulin right now. And all of you can just do this with me. Can you make a C like this with your hand? And then tip that C over like this, and then pinch right here. The more you have to pinch right here, the higher your insulin is. That's called the pinch test, and it's actually very accurate. Angry fat cells drain your energy, increase bad hormones, make you hungry and tired, and they alone make you gain more and more weight. Fortunately, the 7 Systems plan can lower insulin quickly and get rid of that freezer and turn that angry fat into happy fat. So you got to lower insulin, but you also got to change when you eat. And when do we eat in America?
All the time.
All the time. Sun up, sun down, and some people get up in the middle of the night to eat. I want to show you how powerful changing the hours and times you eat in a day is. 2 groups of people, same food, same calories, everything's identical, but they change the time they eat in a day. And what did they find? One group gained weight and one group lost 2 pounds in 2 weeks. You'll learn the secrets of when to eat on the 7 Systems plan. We help you change when you eat, how often you eat, how many hours you eat, and most importantly, what you eat. That's the 3rd component to getting rid of angry fat. And I make it very simple. Here's your shopping list. All the green is things I want you to eat. The red is things to stay away from. And we're going to teach you how to get some food from each of those key categories, because all different categories do different things to your body. Would you like to eat more to lose weight? You can. And I have frequently people come up to me and say, all right, I know how many calories I'm supposed to be getting in. I can't get them all in because there's so much good food that you can choose from. Now, we're going to give you some pasta replacements. Pasta's bad, but there's replacements that are good. Potato replacements, refined grain replacements, and menus and recipes. If you have these supplies in your kitchen, it's very easy to put that together in a nice, tasty meal. And nuts. How hard is it to eat a small handful of nuts a day? You will decrease all causes of mortality if you do that. And we'll teach you some powerful smoothies. And you get access to Teresa's 7 System Kitchen. This is my wife, and she puts together all these nice recipes and menus. We're even going to teach you how to eat out. But I'm going to tell you, if you're going to eat out every day, we're not going to probably make it. You can't eat out too often. So back to candy, structural system problems. That's what happened in the period of a year, over 100 pounds weight loss. Now you want to jump ahead from age 60 to age 73 and see how she's maintaining. There she is with one of those grandkids she wanted to be around for. This is Mike. And this is Brandy, age 30, and Brandy, age 40. Who looks younger? I always warn people you might have to buy some new clothes if you go through the 7 Systems plan. 98% of what I have you do is to learn to eat and enjoy real food. But I do some things to speed up the progress. And one of the things I do is I used a plant-based functional food shake. Now, this isn't a protein shake. It's a specially formulated drink to help fix a system. And here's a study. 89 women, pre-diabetic, either put on a good diet and the functional food or just a good diet, and then tracked, and what they found was 3 times the progress if you add the functional food. And I find that people lose weight up to twice as fast and fix their systems quicker. 90% of all disease, including weight problems, comes from your digestive system. So we're going to go through this quickly, and I'm just going to talk about one thing in one part of the system. But first, here's Lucinda. Now she's got morbid obesity, out of control type 1 diabetes, digestive problems. And when I see these digestive problems, I always start there first. Your gut microbiome, or your gut bacteria, significantly control what you eat, when you eat, and how much you eat. Have you been hearing about probiotics and how important they are? You can have good bacteria in your gut that turn off hunger. Would you like to have that in your gut? They make you lose weight, and they signal your brain to make better food choices, eating healthier food. That's what these guys do. What do you think the bad guys do? Just the opposite. They turn on hunger, they make you gain weight, and they signal your brain to eat food that feeds them. And what feeds the bad guys? Junk food. You get a Big Mac attack, a Snickers attack. It could be those guys asking for food that feeds them. If you go on antibiotics for 1 week, all 3.5 pounds of good bacteria are gone. And how long do you think it takes that to come back? Days, weeks, months? 2 years. So for 2 years, you don't have that good bacteria working for you. And it's not just antibiotics. All these medications, including blood pressure and acid-blocking medications, kill your gut bacteria. And if you've ever used one of these packets of Splenda, half your gut bacteria is gone. If you drink Diet Coke, you have no good gut bacteria. So here's an interesting experiment. They took 2 mice and they put bad bacteria in one and good bacteria in the other. Everything else is the same. Is that alone enough to change their weight? Yes. This is a huge, huge factor in people's struggle with weight. Now, fortunately, they have discovered some very powerful, specific probiotics that help you lose weight. Now, this isn't a mouse study. This is a 6-month human study. No diet, no exercise, just take this probiotic. They were less hungry. They reduced their calorie intake by 300 because they were less hungry. They lost 1 inch off their waist, and they improved their gut health, which is extremely important. So back to Lucinda, who could not control her diabetes or lose weight. Her and Monty lost 250 pounds. And her type 1 diabetes, insulin requirements went down by 2/3. Larry joined the program just to support his wife and ended up losing 50 pounds and getting off all 10 of his medications. The #1 killer in America and weight problems. This is your delivery system. So you ate the food, digested the food, and now that food has to get delivered to the cells in your body through your blood vessels. And if you're running the wrong food through your blood vessels, you're going to damage them. In 1990, Roy came to see me with a blocked heart artery similar to this. He's obese, his lipids are terrible. In fact, his doctors say, you got to have a bypass. Roy refused the bypass and came to see me. He's out of shape. He's on a terrible diet. So I teach people this about LDL cholesterol. If I take this tennis ball and I throw it against the wall, is it going to stick? No. So what would I have to do to make it stick? Put some Velcro on it? There is now growing evidence during states of insulin resistance and inflammation. Now, if you have weight problems, you have both of those too, I'll guarantee you. During those states, LDL particles and the artery wall get coated in molecular Velcro, making everything more sticky, increasing the progression of atherosclerosis. So let me illustrate that. If you're overweight, your arteries are sticky, and the walls get areas where things can get stuck. And then also you've got sticky LDL that comes along, and it gets stuck in those areas, and pretty soon we have blockages, or we have stiff blood vessels, making your blood pressure go up, causing angina. So we have to prevent that. We got to stop that, and we can, but we also need to increase the good cholesterol. Anyone know what the good cholesterol is called? That would be HDL. And here's what HDL does. It kind of acts like a garbage truck coming in and picking up those deposits and taking them to the liver. Now, I knew in 1990 I could help Roy, but I didn't know how much, because at that time there weren't imaging studies showing what we could do. But he went from not being able to walk a block to 9 months later going elk hunting in Colorado with his grandson. He felt great. He'd lost all his weight. But when he got back, his doctor said, "We need to redo your angiogram because you're going to die." And they repeated the angiogram, and guess what they found? The blood vessel had opened up. Now, 2 years after I did this with Roy, they started doing imaging studies showing that these changes start to occur in 3 weeks. Now, the big blood vessels take longer, but you can undo that damage. Here's a picture of me and Roy 28 years after that happened. I help lots of people like Rhonda lower their cholesterol and get off blood pressure medications and have great blood pressure. Your energy system and weight loss. So, all right, we have delivered the food to the cells in your body, and inside every cell in your body, you have something called mitochondria. I don't know if you've heard that word. They're little factories that crank out 95% of your body. Now, here's the problem. By age 50, you may have lost half your little factories, half your mitochondria. Anybody remember this TV show, Dukes of Hazzard, Bo and Luke? How much energy do they got? Lots. Jumping into the car. How about Uncle Jesse? Not so much. He's got a mitochondria problem. Alice came in to see me. She's obese, 77 years old, no energy, sleeps a lot, 8 prescriptions, and she says, "I just want to feel good again." Well, she had depleted her mitochondria because of some specific things that she was doing. We identified those and stopped them. And then we put her on a program to rebuild her mitochondria that you'll learn about in the course. And before long, Alice is feeling much better. I send her back to her doctor. He takes her off all 8 of her prescriptions, and she became a ball of energy. Her only regret, she said, "I wish I had done this when I was 40. Kevin was low energy, never out for sports. The next year, he's running cross country. If you can't lose weight, I will guarantee you, you have a hormone and neurotransmitter problem. So you have 7 systems. They have to be able to communicate with each other, and they communicate by hormones, nerves, and neurotransmitters. Jody came into me. She had really tried to lose weight. She had dieted and exercised for 6 months because her doctor said, "You're obese." Nothing happened. She had low energy, stressed, and she was really trying. So here's something I want you to know. If you have weight problems, you have a certain amount of food addiction. Everybody does. And we actually rate you when you go through the course to see where you're at on a scale of 1 to 10. And that's important because of dopamine. You heard of dopamine? It's the feel-good neurotransmitter. Makes you feel great. Here's what happens to your brain on cocaine. You guys know it really messes up your brain and your neurotransmitters. Guess what else does? Sugar does exactly the same thing. Long-term food addiction rewires your brain in a bad way. It decreases your dopamine or your pleasure receptors. So I'll tell you, if you've been eating the wrong foods, if you're overweight, you don't enjoy life as much, nature as much, food as much, sex as much, nothing as much, because you have down-regulated these receptors. But don't panic. There's a solution. If you mess up your brain with food, you can also fix it with food. And that's one of the things we did with Jody. 65 pounds in 6 months, feels like a new person. Dan had diabetes and obesity, and I see guys like this all the time, and I think, what kind of retirement is he going to have? Well, he's going to have a great one after going through the 7 systems plan. And Sharon, you can see, it's kind of blurry, her dopamine receptors are down-regulated. They're upregulated. 2 more systems and we'll be done. Stick with me. Chronic inflammation and weight problems. If you've got some chronic inflammation, it is making your weight problems worse. The 6th system in your body is your defense system. It defends your body against all kinds of bad things. Tonsils, lymph nodes, bone marrow, you've heard of those. Who's heard of gut lymph tissue? You know, I've never had someone attending an information meeting that said, I know what that is. But look where almost all your defense system is, in your gut. There's an actual picture of it, that gut lymph tissue surrounding your intestinal tract. And I'll tell you, if you have a digestive system problem, if you got leaky gut, you're going to have a problem with your defense system. This system's a little different in that it needs to be balanced. If it's under-functioning, you're going to get sick a lot. If it's over-functioning, this system starts attacking your own body. And one of the main things that causes that to happen is a leaky gut. Now, we won't get into that now, but almost all of my patients that begin the program have some amount of leaky gut. And that leads to autoimmune disease. Rheumatoid, Hashimoto's, celiac, fibromyalgia, type 1 diabetes, psoriasis. There's 130 different autoimmune diseases. Millions of people have them and don't even know they do. But our plan is great for healing the gut, getting those tight junctions back so that gut lymph tissue calms down and works correctly. Here's a picture of a guy who I've never met. He did my online course. He had rheumatoid arthritis so bad he couldn't button his shirts. The next year I get a nice email from him telling me no problem in his hands. Rheumatoid's in submission, lost weight. Marla is the worst fibromyalgia patient I've ever had. Have you heard of fibromyalgia? It's an autoimmune muscular disease. Your body's attacking your muscles. It can be very painful. And she had it so bad when she went shopping, she had to use the cart in Walmart. 20 years of severe pain. In 90 days of being on the 7 systems plan, her pain disappears. And it has been gone since then. She lost 65 pounds, but fixed her defense system. Kurt had severe migraines, disabling migraines related to his defense system, and they were gone in a couple months. Last thing I want to talk about is toxins and weight problems. So your detox system has 5 major organs. They all need to be working correctly. And here's what we know about toxins. We've been checking people's fat tissue since 1972. And why do we check fat? Because that's where toxins get stuck. And what we now know is the 5 worst toxins in America are in everybody. And these toxins don't just sit there. They slowly poison us and cause all kinds of health problems. Obesity, toxins alone can make you gain weight. But this is a partial list of the things related to the toxins that we are exposed to. Animal studies clearly show, give these 2 animals exactly the same, but one gets toxins, they're going to get obese. So let me ask you guys a question. If you have a sick fish in a dirty tank, do you medicate the fish? No. You clean the tank. And that's one of the things we do on the 7 systems plan. Our plan supports each of those 5 detox organs and can cause remarkable things to improve. So Nancy came to see me. She's been to many specialists. She's been diagnosed with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, all kinds of other things. And she's so sick, she can't walk to the bathroom in the morning by herself. She had to quit her job 2 months before seeing me. And she actually said to me, Dr. Pat, I'm afraid I'm going to end up in a nursing home. All of her signs that we saw indicated her detox system was overwhelmed. So we put her on a program, an intense program, to fix her detox system and support it. And you'll learn about that as you go through the course. In 10 days, she went from being disabled to going back to work. She fixed all 7 of her systems in the next few months, lost the weight she needed to. Steve had fatty liver, and I'll tell you, if you got 20 pounds of extra fat, especially around here, very good chance you've got fatty liver beginning. It is the number 2 reason for liver transplants in America. Steve had the highest liver enzymes I've ever seen, 8 times higher than normal. In 6 months, his doctor's amazed. His liver's working great. So let's look at the big picture for weight loss. If you have 3 plants that are dying, and you give 1 sunlight, 1 water, and 1 plant food, will any of these 3 live? No. What if you give all 3 things to 1 plant? Then it will. If you fix 1 system in your body, will that make you healthy? Well, it'll help, but you really need to fix all 7 systems in your body. And this is the only plan I've been able to find so far that optimizes the function of every one of your body's 7 systems. So here's the keys to the best weight loss plans. It has to be clinically proven. Ours has been on thousands and thousands. There has to be education. I don't want to just tell people what to do. I want them to understand why they're doing it, because that makes it a lot easier to do it long term. You will be the most educated people in any group once you finish the 7 systems plan. You have to have some form of accountability. We have many ways to do that on the 7 system plan. Functional foods and a few key supplements are very helpful. And I don't believe in telling people to take 10 or 20 different vitamins, but there's a few things that are very powerful. Fasting mimic diets. Have you heard of fasting mimic diets? You'll learn about them. They're very powerful, and we'll even get into fasting. Number 6, finding what works for you. So what works for you may not work for you, but I give you so many choices, you can figure out a plan that works perfectly. And then testing. I think some tests are very helpful. And in the course, you'll get some free at-home tests that you can do. And those of you working with a 7 systems provider, I want you to talk to them because they have some additional great things that they can offer you. So let me summarize. The 7 systems plan, you get lessons on every system, and that would be enough. But I also give you a lot of bonuses. That food addiction test, we're going to give you that. A testosterone survey, system surveys, goal setting, food journaling, and many more helpful tools. I've been doing this for decades. I know what helps. And you also get some bonus lessons. Besides the core lessons, your microbiome, your gut bacteria is so important, I give you a whole lesson on that. We've got a lesson on fasting mimic diets and fasting, food addiction, assembling a team that will help you have a 85% success rate, one on vitamins and minerals, one on spicing up your love life, a lesson on making you superhuman, and then one on designing this to make it work for you. For those of you who are on Facebook who purchase the course, you can also join our private group. We've got over 1,000 members on there that are willing to jump in and answer your questions and give you encouragement and share what they're doing. You get our downloadable workbook so you can take some notes as you're going through the course. And we also give you a great price on supplements. We've teamed up with a pharmaceutical grade supplement company to give you a very good product at a very good price. It is an investment, but you're going to save money on medications. If you're on medications now, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want you to get on them, and I want you to get so you don't need them. And also health care. If you have a stroke or a heart attack, it can cost you tens or even $100,000 for some of these problems. We can prevent a lot of that. I'm going to save money on junk food too, because I don't want you eating that. You know, these meals can cost you $10 now. That will more than pay for the plan. So wrapping it up here, 7 systems plan for the average American. I got a 1-minute video I'm going to show you that's very powerful.
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? It's time to decide. The average Canadian will spend their last 10 years in sickness.
The average American will spend more than their last 10 years in sickness. In America, only 12% are metabolically healthy, 88% are not. So think about yourself right now. I want you to think about yourself at your ideal weight for good. Digestive system working for you. Cholesterol, blood pressure, and heart healthy. 600% more energy. Hormones and neurotransmitters optimized. Immune system protecting you, and toxins eliminated, and not needing medications. Frequently there's someone watching who says, I want to think about it for a while, and I'm going to show you what happens if you think about doing this for 90 days. That's what happens, nothing. So I encourage you to take action. That's what Wayne did. And in 6 months, off all medications, 65 pounds gone. And here's what Wayne said: I feel 30 years younger. And his body was 30 years younger. Christy, 50 pounds in 6 months. Julie, another online student, lost a lot of weight. Amy, 100 pounds in 8 months. So you can get instant access now to this, and I'm going to wrap up by telling you it's the 7 Systems Plan course, the 5 bonus lessons, and all you have to do to begin your journey is, if you're online, not with a healthcare provider, you can use the link below to create an account. If you are with a provider, then talk to your provider and have him help you get set up and on your journey. I love creating these stories. This is my passion. I love to see people's health change. I want to answer a few frequently asked questions, and then we'll be done. Number 1, can I do this? Yes, you can. It's really not that hard, and we'll help you every step of the way. What if I failed other plans? Then you are my perfect candidate. I love people who have tried things and failed. We do things when no one else can. Does it take a lot of time? You're going to have to invest about an hour a week. The lessons are about 40 minutes, and I want you to get through 1 a week. We'll give you some simple things to start doing, and then do that and watch the next one. You have access for 6 months to the material. What support will I have? If you're with a provider, you will have their support, and in our online group, you'll have access to support there, and we're going to show you how to set up a network of people around you to help you. How do the meetings happen? We have meetings that are live, we have meetings that are on Zoom, and we have meetings that are recorded. So we have lots of options. What kind of changes do I have to make? Could you eat an apple a day? Could you eat a small handful of nuts a day? It's just little things like that. What will I learn? Everything you need to know to optimize the function of each of your body's 7 systems. You'll have a great education by the time you're done. I want to thank you for joining me for this brief meeting, and I want to encourage you, those of you who are jumping in, as you go through this course and lose weight, I want you to please share your story on our members-only Facebook group. Just hit the link to join, and I can't wait to see you on the other side.